Hi there, and we're here with our second one shot. This is Drew. Everybody say hi to Drew. How are you doing today, Drew?
I'm doing quite well, Mr. DM. I'm doing quite fine. Excited to get my first one shot with you. It's quite exciting. Um, Also playing first time barbarian, so that'll be interesting.
Very nice. How long have you been playing?
Myself, I have been currently been playing for about 5 to 6 years. Myself personally, I've been DMing for about 4 years now. Super excited to try first time DMing with you because I've gotten plenty of good compliments from your play style. So I'm really excited to do a one shot with this group and yourself.
Mm. And when it comes to D&D, what is your favorite thing about, either DMing or being a player? What kind of brings you the most joy?
That's a really hard case question because there's a lot of things that bring D&D love for me, like improving between characters, figuring out combat strategies. But I would say at the end of the day, it's just playing with friends and just having a good old time, because at the end of the day, we're all here to play fancy game, maybe get a few character losses or maybe a few victories, but it's all about the fun that we all have with each other and just having fun.
And last question here. What are you looking forward to the most in this campaign?
I would say probably the biggest thing I'm looking forward to this one is the storytelling, honestly, because I haven't had a really, really good attachment to a character in a long time, and I've been working on this concept for this character for a very long time. And with the new Beast Barbarian and the shifter class from one of the other supplementary books, it looks like to be super fun, where it's going to be very heart pullish. Does he give into the bestiality, or does he stay to the humanistic side? Does Wild claim him, or does the valiant friendships along the way and all the important lessons that he'll learn with this adventure save him? And that's what I'm hoping to see. And honestly, have a good time too.
Awesome. Well, we're going to get started here in a few minutes, and we'll jump on into it.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
And we're back with Drew and Avestis. So we're going to start the session now. So you're going to be starting in the town of Iraden. More or less the town of Iraden, because you're far enough outside of it that you can't exactly see it. You're more at home in the woods. This is a very foggy, very dreary part of the continent. This is the scene of a very large naval battle during the War of Brilliance a century and a half ago, give or take a couple decades, to the point that it has permanently dyed the water a dark scarlet, and the amount of downed boats in the harbor make it near impossible for new ships to get in. You will sometimes go into town to get supplies, do some trading, but for the most part, you kind of stay to your own. At your campsite, you have a hut, you have a fire. It's early morning, you're just getting ready for everything. And if you want to go ahead and describe your character.
Avestis himself is a fairly large man, give or take up to about 6'1", fairly muscular, very defined muscles, as he's been out in the woods for quite some time. Kind of more of a seasoned man. He's definitely got a 5 o'clock shadow. He's kind of lets his hair grow out a bit, but keeps it well maintained within a man bun, if you will. But preferably likes just to have just a simple vest on, leather tanned, very, very worn and weathered, and just very, very simplistic clothes. But he does carry an array of weapons on his belt and on his pack. A few hand axes on the side, but the most notable feature is probably his giant great axe that he carries around with him, which is very finely made. But you will notice that there's quite a bit of engraving on it, which is in kind of seems like almost a druidistic kind of style. Maybe we'll get to find out a little bit more about it when Jacob gets to tell the story a bit more behind it. Mm-hmm. Wink, wink, a little heads up for everybody. But a fairly aged man, well within his, like, I would say probably his 40s, late 40s, getting into his 50s. But he seems to be a very solace man, very stewardess, quite quiet, but very defined by his experience, I would say, and carries that experience with him as his story will unfold. We'll see if what is afflicting him will show more. But he does show quite a few noticeable scars. One very particular one, a couple on his face that seems to be almost like a claw mark, just going from the upper right eye going down the face. But it doesn't seem to have healed over correctly. It seems quite deep, as I would say. But other than that, fairly weathered, but very, very quiet, you'll notice.
Okay, so as you're standing in the forest at your kind of small clearing campsite, you don't generally have many visitors, but you do know, just given the time of year, that there is a festival coming up in the town of Iraden, and people are preparing for it. This festival this year in particularly is notable as a group will be sent out into the rest of the continent to try to bring some workers or people to the ailing city or ailing village of Iraden. It's been very down on its luck. It's almost like it's a cursed city. So they're very much hoping to have possibly some volunteers, but they will conscript people if need be. So our story is really going to begin when a young page arrives at your clearing. Just a human male. Is probably only 19, 20. Dirt kind of over his face, wearing very drab clothing and such there. Very poor looking if we go there. So he runs into the clearing and he looks around, makes eye contact with you, and he kind of freezes. Are you Avestis?
Avestis will look at him very keen-eyed, very silently, and just measure the boy, seeing what he has to say.
The mayor has sent an invitation for you to come to the festival, but yeah, and he pulls an envelope out from his jacket, and he kind of holds it towards you, kind of frozen in place because he's a little intimidated by your hulking size.
Avestis will kind of not very wantingly get off his nice little, kind of like the wood that he was sitting on that he got quite comforted by. He'll kind of slowly get up from that and just size the boy up a little bit more, but with a little bit of a gentle touch, just kind of caress the boy's hand to let him know that he's safe, and just pull the paper away very softly.
They say you're the best fighter around, the best fighter in these woods. Is that true?
As he's walking away, he'll respond with a kind of monotone voice. Some things are left best said than seen, boy. I thank you for this message, but I will guide you back to the path ahead, as this forest can be perilous and there are many dangers.
Thank you, sir.
And Avestis will kind of just take the lead just for about a moment and show the boy back from the path that he took in. And he'll grab a small coin from his pocket and give him a silver thank you. You didn't need to come all this way, as I know it is very dangerous. But I thank you for your time, boy.
Oh, thank you. And then you see he kind of almost, his fears kind of melt away. A silver is quite a bit for him, especially for this stuff. He's like, oh well, that very much makes it worth it, sir. I hope we get to see you at the festival. I'll make sure to keep one of my mother's meat pies for you.
Thank you. I do appreciate such things, but you best be off, because these woods are festering with dangers at night.
Oh yes, I would never want to be here at night. I'm sorry. Goodbye, sir.
And Avestis will just kind of, as he's seen the boy kind of go away, he'll kind of ponder off into his own thoughts for a second and just kind of remind himself that of something that could have been, but he just never got the chance to get it, to have that kind of, always wanted to have a kid like that. But he'll turn back and most definitely go back to camp and ponder on these things.
So as the page runs down the path, he's gone for a couple of minutes. He's out of view, but he's not quite out of earshot. And after a few minutes, you hear a very loud scream.
Upon hearing that, Avestis would be in heightened response and would fly at max speed, as he would be dashing there at a hefty pace, seeing what the incident is happening.
Okay, so it's going to take you about 2 or 3 minutes to get there. But as you get there at a breakneck speed, you see the page on the ground, and in front of him are 2 orcs. Can you roll an insight for me?
Most definitely. That is E14.
Okay. So you've seen your fair share of orcs. They're generally pretty nice. But these orcs seem a little different. They seem to have all of their color drained from them, and they're actually gray instead of the usual green or other tones that these orcs have. And their eyes seem to be one tone. It's all purple. And they seem to be growling and holding their weapons up at the page. And they're just kind of sniffing the air when you arrive.
Avestis will quickly observe the situation, and it seems very abnormal for what it seems, because not a lot of orcs would be out this way. As
Yeah, most orcs would be further south, much further south. There'd be more. You're more in the northern or northwestern corner, and they're mainly in the north, like the western side. So they're quite a bit north.
fellow hunters, you approach upon a territory that we had discussed what would be my own. What brings you to these woods?
The orcs look at you and they just kind of stand there. Not really even a growl. They just look at you.
Avestis will slowly creep up, and as he's doing that, will withdraw his great axe from his back and visibly start showing that he is not going to be hostile quite yet, but is preparing a guard if need be.
You can go ahead and roll an intimidation if you would like.
Not at all. He is calmly trying to.
Okay.
He's not trying to intimidate. He is most certainly just trying to get to the page boy as fast as he can, and not trying to cause any possible harm to the boy, to cause him to enact any behavior that could be endangering to him.
As you get closer to the boy, you see that they become more tense.
Okay.
With every step that you take, they seem closer and closer to pouncing.
Seeing upon that, he'll look at the boy and he'll command him in a more commanding point this time. Back away slowly, come towards me.
So
do not act quickly.
He tries to kind of almost like crab crawl back to you, like he's very much using his hands instead of his feet to kind of crawl back. But every step that he takes, it seems like the orcs are taking that step further.
Okay. Going behind his back, Avestis, while holding his great axe, will prepare an action to throw a hand axe at the enemy as soon as the boy's within movement range to basically start the fight.
At this point now, he'll be about 10 feet in front of you, and they'll be about 5 feet away from him. So they're about a total of 15 feet away.
He will initialize the combat by throwing his great axe, his hand axe. My bad on that. To the one to the left.
Okay. I'll let you get a surprise round there. Roll the hit, and then we'll roll initiative after.
Okay. Confirmed hit will be strength plus that. That'll be a 16 to hit.
16 hits.
Perfect. And that is a D6 of damage. Oh, pretty good. That's 7 damage total.
Nice.
As to kind of describe how we get it, he would just slightly just pull the axe, and using his great axe as a marker, he would make it look like he's going to toss the larger one, while in reality, just doing the fake action to throw it there and landing the blow as clean as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you have one hand behind your back that makes it look like you're going towards your axe, but in your other hand, you pull out your hand axe and you throw it like a Viking, and it hits it right square in the chest, and it's taken aback by this because it's hit with quite a bit of force. And you can go ahead and roll mission.
Okay, that will be not bad at all. That'll be a 19.
19, nice. All right. So 19 makes you top of the round. So yeah, there's the two orcs about 15 or so feet in front of you, and it is your turn.
Okay, thank you very much. Avestis will start encroaching upon his prey, seeing them as a hostile being. For his bonus action, he will use his shifting ability. As his appearance slightly grows more and more disfigured, but for a moment, you would kind of see him just grow a couple more inches, and the page would see this as well, as his already bulkish figure would get almost about a foot taller, a little bit just slightly muscular, but it seems like his hide itself has gotten harder. As per my shifting ability, for those who may not know, I get 1d6 temporary hit points for the round, plus my con level, and +1 to my armor class. Slightly making him a little harder. But he will encroach upon his prey, looking at them, drawing the great axe upon the one that he already hit with his hand axe, and saying, "I think you have something in mind," as he tries to cleave forth. And I'd like to roll an attack action if that's possible. Perfect. That will be a 16 to hit.
16 hits.
Perfect. 1d12. Oh, not the best, but not the worst. 4 damage total.
4 damage total?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you walk up to them, putting yourself between them and the page. You go up and you say, "You have something of mine," and you take the axe out and give him a nice cleave to the side there. But since you're not used to holding it with one hand, it doesn't quite hit as hard as you had hoped, but it does leave a pretty garish gash in his orc side. The orc that hasn't been hit is going to go now, seeing that you've hit its brother. It's going to attempt to attack you.
Sounds good.
I imagine a 22 hits.
No.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. That'll be a confirmed hit. 16 is your hit point.
Okay. So that is a total of 5 damage.
But he'll take it gladly. But
so it reaches out with its claw. It isn't even using any weapons. It just brings out its claw and it gives you a big scratch on the side there. After him, it is the other orc's turn, and he's going to attempt to do the same. And a 21 would hit.
Yes, most certainly will.
Okay. Out, and that one was 7 damage.
Okay, still up.
All right. Thankfully, their turns are very quick. It is back to you.
Vestus sees these guys are not playing around, and he is starting to get angry that the piece of his forest is starting to be bothered quite a bit, as he lets out like a hellish roar. "You shall not harm those of the innocent!" As I would like to bonus action rage.
Awesome.
And with this, the page would notice this as he starts to grow even a little bit more, as his hide slightly looks like it's turning to fur, but not totally. As if something kind of possesses the man. And he's going to swing his axe a little bit more wildly this time. Not as the precisionable hit he tried before, and the one that he hit beforehand. He will attack. And that will be a 14 to hit.
Yeah, 14 hits. And you're attacking the one you've already hit?
Yes, sir. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. How does he feel about? Ooh, how does he feel about 15 damage?
Ouch. So you take your axe and you swing it. Your rage radiating like almost physical heat off of you, and you just hit him, and you cut him in half. But it's not because your axe is sharp. It is with the pure force. There you pretty much obliterate this orc, and the other orc is a little shocked. And it is that your whole turn?
I guess with the rest of his action, he will speak. Run while you can before you are consumed.
The orc, although shocked, just kind of looks towards you and tries to attack you kind of as wildly as you have attacked his brethren. I'm really sorry. Again, that's a 24.
That's okay.
And that's a total of 6. That's slashing damage though. So if you're raging, you're only taking 3 of
that. That is more than okay. I'm still up. As bloodied as I am, I'm still up.
And it is your turn.
And Avestis will start just losing his mind for a moment. I told you to run. I told you to run. As he will cleave that axe out of the orc and move it towards an uppercut swing downwards on the other one. And I will attempt to hit. Oh my. How does he feel about a nat 20?
That will most definitely hit.
Okay. Just let me grab an additional
dice. That's the first nat 20 of the game, so that's awesome.
Oh, well. That'll be double. Would you like double damage or double dice?
Let's do double damage just because it's easier.
Okay. How does he feel about 26 damage?
So you pull your axe out of the already fallen orc, and you hit with an uppercut with your great axe there, and it catches the other orc square in the chin, and your axe just keeps going. You basically tear his entire face off, and he falls back.
Avestis will kind of lose himself a little bit there for the moment and just keep on slamming that great axe into the beast. Sorry, not the beast, the orc, sorry. And continuously keep on going until that next, if you don't mind, I'd like to roll a constitution save to see if he can maintain control.
Yeah, you can go ahead and roll. You can go ahead and roll a con save. Usually that's my line.
Sorry, the little bit of the DM's popping out of me.
That's okay. Go for it.
Okay. With that, he would roll with his con. I just have to double check this because technically it would be con save. That would be a 19 on the save.
Okay. So you're able to take a second. You breathe in, you breathe out. Through your time in the forest, you've been able to hone your meditation. You're able to kind of cool yourself down as you drop your rage, and your shift goes back. So you kind of shrink back into the size of a normal man again. The page looks up at you, bewildered, and just says, "Thank you. They came out of nowhere."
I'm sorry for what you had to see there. It's
you saved my life. You don't need to be sorry. I'm sorry that I tripped, and I'm gonna try to make it back to the village. And he tries to get up, but as he tries to get up, he winces in pain and he falls back down. He's like, I think I might have broken my leg when I fell. I can't walk back.
With a large sigh, Avestis will do a very just quick check on the boy as he will pick up two larger sticks and put them off to the side and start applying almost like it seems like a well-used bandage. He's not medically trained, but he does have survival. So he'd just make a small splint, and he would. How large is the kid? Is he?
The kid, he's kind of a scrawny, older teenager, early 20s. If you want to go ahead and roll this would be a medical check. If you just want to go ahead and roll one, it's not going to be the highest DC. You're just putting the splint on.
Would you like the good news or the hilarious news first?
The good news first.
Well, the good news is I'm finally getting bad rolls. Hilarious news is I got my first nat 1.
So
for a check, that'll be a 2.
So you take 2 pieces of wood and you put up to his leg, and no matter what you try to do, you can't seem to get any that are the size of his leg without breaking them, like breaking the sticks before you can put them there. And he's kind of looking at you a little bewildered, still very much in awe of you, but also kind of silently saying, "You can just pick me up, you know."
And as unwanting as he is to want to carry somebody, he'll do the old kid piggyback and pick him up and just kind of sling him over his shoulder a bit and just say, kind of whisper to the kid, "What you saw today, please keep it to yourself. It is not something I wish to be spread around, if you understand what I mean."
Okay. Yeah. Are you sure you're okay with bringing me to Iraden? I know there's an infirmary there. I can't walk myself, and I don't have a horse.
It's better to see you there alive than a dead.
Thank you, sir.
Don't mention that, really. Please don't. I don't need the folks getting a good idea that they have someone who's willing to literally take an axe for them.
So as you walk, because you're gonna have to walk to the town, after a few minutes, he starts asking you questions. He's like, "So, how long have you been living in the woods?"
Avestis will keep a little bit more silent. Time. I have been here for a time only.
Okay. Have you seen anything weird in these woods before? I mean, I remember when I was younger, I used to play in these woods with the other young people, and I don't think I've ever been in this deep. Must be kind of scary out here and lonely.
No, it is solace.
Solace just sounds like a fancy word for lonely.
Boy, I will tell you, sometimes it is best to ask less questions than to get your answers. For sometimes answers bring a lot more reckoning than you will ever know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pry. I'm sorry.
Boy, this world works in very cruel ways. And sometimes learning to keep your own neck safe is the proper way, because it is better to live another day than to die brashly. Well, my one question is, why do they not send a couple people with you, as they know full well the dangers of these woods?
Um, a lot of people are setting up for the festival currently. Most of the other pages are out sending invitations to some of the other settlements down the coast. Any group that we can. The mayor is trying to get things set to send out an envoy, a group of people to possibly, you know, bring back supplies or bring back some new, settlers or anyone that can kind of help. I know Iraden's never been the most luxurious space, but it's fallen on some hard times recently. Also, everyone else was too scared to go this way, and I ended up drawing the short end of the stick.
As again, boy, brevity is not the same as wittery. If you know better, then don't do against your instincts tell you. Because if I did not intervene, you may have ended up dead.
Oh, I most certainly would have ended up dead if it wasn't for you, sir.
Take this as a heathen of keeping your own life. Keep to the roads. Do not stray off them unless you are with others. Because there are much more worse dangers than what you face today, boy. It is survival, and those who wish to survive must be the fittest. And if I may be straightforward, you are not, as you would say, an apex predator yourself.
No. But thankfully I was able to have your help today, and I just thank you for all you've done for me in this short time since I've met you, 10 minutes ago. It's as
if this is a fated encounter or something. But boy, be realistic. Your life is worth a lot more than seeing an old man who may or may not save someone next time. Life is too short to ever be wondering if you're ever going to live to see the next day. And where I come from, the strong survive and the weak perish. And trust me, with things as they are now, it might get worse.
So as you guys continue walking and continue talking, as you try to teach the page how to not die and do his job, eventually you reach the basically at the village limits. You start to hit a clearing outside of Iraden. So Iraden used to be a fort here during the War of Brilliance. So it's surrounded by a wooden wall.
Okay.
It's fallen into some disrepair here, but as you enter the clearing, you kind of get a chill, as it's much colder in the clearing than it was in the woods. You keep following the path, and there is a break in the wall where the gates are, and you start heading into this harbor village. It's kind of dreary, kind of gray. Well, everybody's kind of working away, but everybody kind of stops and looks up at you as you make your way towards the infirmary, the medic's office, or whatever you would want to call it. And nobody really says anything, but they're not really put off by how you look.
Okay. He'll ignore as much as he can the stares, but he'll kind of just give that distance of just looking back at them and kind of eyeballing them back, but paying not much mind to them.
Mhm.
We're here, boy. I will take you to the physician, and I will be off to see the mayor.
So you drop him off at the infirmary, and a nurse puts him on a bed and starts tending to him. He looks up at you, kind of almost sleepyish. He's like, "Thank you. I want you to know you're a good man. Thank you."
He'll polish his remark to that. He was gonna say something, but he'll just take the compliment. He'll nod his head towards the boy and be off. And as he's going through the door, just kind of do a wave to him. And
Right. So you leave him to the infirmary, and as you step outside, not like directly at the stoop, but about 10 feet away, you see a man who's wearing some armor, just like a leather armor. He has a sword at his hip. He has long blonde hair behind a like a circlet around his head, and pointy ears. I haven't seen you around lately, Avestis. What brings you to town?
errands, you could say.
Did you receive my letter, my invitation?
I did. What do you wish of me?
Well, as you know, this is a very important year for the fall festival.
Is it now? Care pre tell why?
Well, we're looking to send an envoy out from the village, and I'll be 100% straight with you, my friend. We could use some muscle.
You thought the old hermit of the forest would be the best one.
I thought the hermit out in the forest might like the gold.
Gold is nothing more than something you need to survive. The forest provides everything what is needed, and it provides, as he kind of looks around back and forth, solitude from this.
I understand, and I can definitely respect that, old friend, but I know that you've felt the changes in the wood, and I know you feel that something's off. This village here is slowly dying. Our crops they're withering to dust. Our cattle are dying of starvation, not to mention our people who are either stricken with illness or malnutrition. I guess when it comes down to it, you can't fault me for asking for your help. I have no choices. I have no options. I can't spare anyone else, and frankly, I need your help. I need you to lead these people, this group, out into the world to try to make this village a better place before it's too late and there's no village to come back to. I will pay you whatever I'm able. I will let you keep whatever you find. I need the help, friend.
I shall think on this matter. It is not. I don't mean to sound very impudent when I say it, but this is not a matter for someone such as myself. As Strangers are one thing. Friends are one thing, but dealing with strangers I've never met are a different. I will judge them to see if they are worthy, but I will need time to think on this request because you are right. The woods are changing. Maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. But something inside is progressing, growing hungrier, and is it becoming harder to keep it at bay? Well, what of that druid what came by so long ago? Have you had a chance to talk to them? They might have been able to help with crops and such. Or do they not respond to your letters?
You know the nature of druids. They go where they want. They leave when they want. They don't care much for the people they leave behind. I appreciate you sleeping on it or thinking about it. That's all I can really ask. If you come to the festival, it'll be in a few days. But I will make certain that you can meet the group and judge accordingly if you would be willing to travel with them.
You remember what happened to the last party I helped? They're a bunch of nothing more than newcomers that sought nothing but glory for themselves and got themselves killed. If you can, if they can prove themselves not to be more souls for death to carry off, we will see.
I will make sure to arrange some demonstrations before you make your decision.
And it is not demonstrations that I'm worried about, it's the people themselves. Because you are one of the very few breed of people that I've met in this lifetime that care more for the others than for themselves. And trust me, I used to be much like yourself, giddy to help those in need. But there's a time when you need to start looking after yourself before you can look after others. And now that I think about it, this could provide a few opportunities to deal with this ailment. As he'll kind of just slightly graze his face, just kind of going over the scar marks. Kind of leave himself to thought there for a second, and kind of remembering something and kind of popping back to it. But make sure the boy is all right. He did not need to risk his life to come see me. Next time, if you do send somebody, send maybe 2 or maybe an adult with a little bit more training. I don't think you need more death on your conscience.
I will make certain that if I need to call upon you again, I will do it myself, old friend. I apologize.
Apologies are nothing. This world is, as you said, changing. Changing for the better, possibly changing for the worst. We will yet to see. As you know, the fortunes of life are not the same as they once were. We shall see. As we always see with the changing of the seasons.
So as with that, he holds out his leather gloved hand, and he shakes yours, and wishes you well as you head back out to your campsite. Again, fairly unbothered. You catch some looks, but no one's saying anything. you've been into town a couple of times, so you're not new. You're not a novelty, but you are an uncommon sight to see you come into town. So you take the trail back, and you go back to your clearing. You have your campsite, your campfire.
Sounds good. I'll probably be pondering on that, just kind of gathering some basic supplies, getting a meal ready for the night, kind of looking over his supplies and just double counting and just reminiscing of his old soldiering days and where he used to fight. But after the incident, what happened with him, he kind of does a lot of self-reflection on these and kind of just wonders if it's fate that this is happening again, or if it's just a cruel reality check that the world isn't as fair as it used to be in his eyes.
So if you want, we can end it there.
Yes.
We've pretty much gone over everything. Thank you for listening to Grinning Griffin Presents The Witch Hunter Wars. If you liked what you heard and would like to keep up to date on the podcast, you can follow us on Facebook at Grinning Griffin. And if you'd like to support us and get access to tons of upcoming side quests, behind the scenes features, and even supplementary content, you can find us at patreon.com/grinninggriffin. Thank you so much for your support of making the Witch Hunter War a success, and we will see you next week.